Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I will be talking about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, what was good about it, what went wrong, and I really hope you enjoy. There will most likely be 3 parts to this video, just like ironically in the movie. The first part will be the good, the second part will be the bad, and the third part is what I think they really should have changed. Now, in order for us to get this done, I don't know how long this is going to take, so buckle up and let's get started. First part is the good. What I think was good about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is the first 2 parts of the movie. The first 2 parts of the movie were very, very good, I'm going to be honest. The part where you find out Cornelius is poor, and he has to work his way up. He's faking to fit in with everybody. Everybody just thinks he's another rich person, but he's actually really not rich at all. And you understand why he needs this so sought after Plinth Prize. Plinth Prize will help him get more money, and it will to make him attend university, and will help his family for a very long time. Now, in the movie, this is the main goal of why he tries to help Lucy Gray, and this is a good reason. He says to her, actually, when he's mentoring her in the cage, she asks, "Why are you doing this, to help me or to get money?" And he responds with both, which is, for him, very good. This is a very good motive for him in the movie, because he needs the money, and he also really likes Lucy Gray, so it makes sense for him to want to do something like this to help her and to get the money, and his reasons make sense. He also does a very good job helping her. He cheats a little bit. That was something I gotta touch on later. He cheats a little bit, but it's okay because he's helping Lucy Gray. And I also like the director, the director lady, who's like very scary, but at the same time awesome. Evil, very evil. Everything that happens in this movie up until part 3 makes a lot of sense. In the first part, he wants to get accustomed to her, make her feel at home, and in doing so falls in love with her. And they also help each other out a lot during the first part. And then in the second part, he also helps her win by cheating. I believe there can be some doing there, but those are the 2 things that I think were good about the first part of the movie. The first 2 parts. Also, the plot with Janus, that was a good one too, showing that he was not a spoiled rich kid, but he was rich and he wanted to help the districts because he was from district and he wants to help these people. So it makes sense. But the fact that he had to choose, I also really liked the actual Hunger Game part. That was probably the best part, except for one thing. I'm going to touch on that in a second. But other than that, first 2 parts of the movie were amazing. I loved how it was set up. It was set up really, really well, and that made me really happy. So yeah. The next part is the bad. Things that were done bad with this movie include the ending of the Hunger Games, him cheating, and just the entire third part altogether. The part where he cheats, they could have just taken it out and have him maybe won over the director to not put the snakes in the cage, let the game finish by itself, and completely limit what was going on in order to make it more fair, and that way there would still be a victor. And this was something I feel like could have been changed, but we'll touch on more of that later. More things that were bad the entire third part, and what I mean by that is just the way his actions, the first action he does bad, obviously wasn't his fault, but he got a buzz cut, and buzz cuts, as everybody knows, seem to make you evil. or make you a bad person at least. Everyone who I've ever seen in movies get a buzz cut normally turned into a bad person or gets rid of their buzz cut. Then, after he gets a buzz cut, he bribes him to go see Lucy Gray in 12. Okay, I can understand why he would do that. But then, Sir Janus comes with him. He's like, oh, you told me to make change in the districts. You told me to. And he was like, oh, yeah, I did, didn't I? And he's like, yeah, I did. And he was like, well, you're not going to be able to help them here. And he's like, what? And then Cornelius said, you got to work your way up. And he was like, okay. Then something he did also in the movie that I really didn't enjoy was he just kind of was a terrible human being. He tells Sir James, and start with that, to make friends and help the district, and then when Sir James thinks what he does is doing right, he shuts him down for it because he's like, oh, their district, you can't trust them, even though he told them the only way you're going to help these people is to go to the places. And then he records him and gets him hanged. Like, you brought that upon himself. You see him crying in the next scene, like, you did that. You could have prevented that. If you had just been better, you could have prevented that. But you didn't. And that's what I didn't understand. Like, you brought this upon yourself. Everything you do in this movie, up until after the third part, is done by yourself. You cheated in the games to let Lucy Gray win, and yes, that was okay. But then you get mad at her when it doesn't all work out for you, even when that's all you want, which is so annoying to me. Like, he couldn't have just worked it out with her, but no, they gotta have a big conflict, and he's gonna kill more people. The main plot of this movie comes because he told Sir James to literally help people, and then he got mad at him for trying to help. There were guns, what the heck? They were gonna try to kill the peacekeepers? Like, yeah, but let him go through with it. Let him own up to his mistakes. Don't try to fix every single problem you have for yourself, because as we can tell in this movie, every time you try to fix a problem for yourself, it ends up ruining the entire thing. Like, the main big conflict, that's like the rising action, but the main big conflict of the third part was that he and what's her face, Lucy Gray, they just kind of have a falling out, I want to say, like, but they don't. They go into the woods. They're gonna be like, we're gonna run away. If they find those shotguns, we're dead, so we're gonna run away. So they run away, but they don't actually run away because they're like, oh, why don't we stop at the cabin? And then he finds the guns. But before that, they have that conversation in the woods that's like, you said you only killed 2 people, but who's the third? And then he comes with the bullshit answers, oh, it was myself. I killed the old me, which is the worst answer I've ever heard. Like, of course she doesn't believe you. You're a freaking liar, dude. And it's obvious when you pause and then come up with something about yourself. Instead of just saying, I was the one who killed Sir Damon's, just say that. She'll be like, oh, that's terrible, but she'll understand. She might not like it, but she would definitely be like, okay, I understand. I might not agree with your actions, but thank you for telling me. And then you would probably be okay in a week or something, as long as you just stick with her. But instead, he hides it from her, and that sets up the main action in the movie where he probably kills her, but there's no evidence. Like, he didn't find the body or anything. But he gets mad at her for something that he did. And I understand we're trying to set up the fact that he has to go back to the capital, but it just rubs me the wrong way how they handled the third act. Everything he did in the third act was just bad decision after bad decision, and it could have all been avoided, and I'm going to tell you how. Because it is time for the third part of this video. The third part of this video is what I think they could have done better, and we are going to start in the second part, actually, because I believe there is some things they could have done better. First of all, the rat poison. We're going to start with the rat poison. I honestly, wholeheartedly believe the whole rat poison thing could have been avoided. I know he wanted to give her a leg up, but if they just, I know it was gonna make good. He could have been cheated. So we're gonna say, for this first scenario, she doesn't cheat. She doesn't use any rat poison. She doesn't use any snakes. So we're just gonna start there. Let's say that in the games, Lucy Gray and Jessup go into the thing, and then Lucy Gray gets scared and goes out, but she's not a killer, so she doesn't want to kill anybody. But they're trying to, instead of sticking right there at the vent and giving the other lady a chance to spear her, instead she goes directly into the vents and goes far into the vents, far enough to where nobody can find her, and she just comes out until everybody starves. That's what I would have done with that point in the novel. It avoids the bit with the rat poison and sets up the other part in a better fashion. It shows that she's not going to cheat, but she also really doesn't want to kill anybody, because it just wouldn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that she would kill people. She doesn't want to kill people. It's obviously proven. As she felt terrible about doing what she did, and she felt terrible for Jessup. She felt terrible for all the contestants. Well, I think everybody felt terrible for everybody except the maniacs who wanted to be there and stuff. So I don't think they wanted to be here, but you get my point. Also, the bit with Dill, instead of having her poison the water and make her feel incredibly guilty about her actions, because she's not a killer, I wholeheartedly believe that what they could have done instead was have it so Dill just dies, like, at the start of the thing, because she was literally on the ground. They threw her onto her podium, so it wasn't like she was going to live anyway. She was 100% dead. Could have just died off screen or something. It was an unnecessary plot point to show that Lucy Gray has feelings, which we already knew. And that leads me into my third bit with the snakes. I believe that the snake part was fine. I think it could have been worse. I do not like the fact that he completely cheated, but I think we're saying for this he's not going to cheat. So I think for this, the professor, the Reaper, the whole point was that the professor was that Reaper, the reason that she did it was because Reaper did the thing with the Pan Am flag and the bodies. And I believe that instead of using the snakes, I understand there was a plot point earlier in the movie and it was pretty obvious when she said, "Oh, rainbow of death," but I think she could have coded a winner, and maybe it was Lucy Gray, because that would get the most ratings and keep people watching. I don't understand why she would ever want to stop the games, even if when the Reaper was doing that stuff in the arena. This is just my theory. We're going to continue with the theory that was scenario 1, where he didn't cheat, and we're just going to say that the game master coded it so the snakes would not kill Lucy Gray. She would sing, she would live, and Cornelius wins as the mentor, and Lucy Gray wins as the tribute. Instead of going back to 12, though, Lucy Gray stays in the capital, and I think this would have been okay. They could have, if they wanted to have a third act in the movie, I feel like if that's the scenario, the movie really could have ended right there. Maybe an epilogue? I would say maybe an epilogue. But other than that, the movie could have ended right there. Everyone would have been happy, and then they could have just, I don't think they mentioned Cornelius having a wife in the main three series or books. If they did, that's on me. I haven't watched the actual 3 movies in a while, so if I am wrong and he had Lucy, he had a wife, I probably didn't mention her by name, I want to say, but even if he did, there could have been a third part where something goes completely wrong, or people from the districts come and kill Lucy Gray, and it just fuels him further into wanting to create the games, and it kills the Dean Highbottom or whatever his name was. I think that could have worked as a third part. If you did want to have a third part, that would have been it. Because something to just fuel his rage more without it being necessarily his fault, and then he cries about what he did wrong. Like, it's your fault. You're crying about what you did. It's not... He acts like he's like this self-entitled person. I don't know. It might just be the buzz cut. Scenario 2 is he does cheat, but he doesn't go to District 12, because as we learned before, or as I believe, going to District 12 made the whole movie terrible. Just him being a peacekeeper, going to the place, getting all these antics. He caused all that. That was all because of him. He wanted to go to 12. He wanted Sir James to do good. He wanted to report Sir James then to him. He wanted to not tell Lucy the truth. He decided to go back to the capital. So instead of him doing all those terrible things, how about instead, let's say he does cheat in the second part of the movie, and Dean Highbottom and the game master, I don't remember her name at all, they just find out. And let's say that in them finding out, all of that really happens is that he just doesn't become a peacekeeper. He just gets thrown out of the university, and I want to explore this a little bit. That means Tigress, he would still have the fame from winning the Hunger Games, because they obviously wouldn't want to be like, oh, you cheated. But what they could do is say, oh, you can't go to the university, you will not be winning the Plinth Prize. And the third part is him. Maybe he enrolls as a peacekeeper, but he stays in the capital. Or maybe he goes somewhere else, different district, or he wins and he has to keep pretending that he didn't cheat at all. And I honestly think that this would be probably the best storyline they could have gone with. He has to pretend, and maybe the guilt or something of having to live with the fact that he cheated, and maybe Lucy Gray is like, you cheated for me, and then they fall in love, so he has to think about how he lost everything for her, but he has to keep pretending that he hasn't lost anything, and she has to pretend that they're all happy and stuff. And I just think that it will be a better plot line, a better story, if something along the line, this isn't perfect, you can tell me otherwise in the comments, think of your own plan, really, but I just think that it would probably be better just as a story if he didn't go to District 12, and I think the best way to do that is keep him in the capital, keep Lucy Gray there. Lucy Gray is not going home in any of these scenarios. She stays in the capital because she's like, I want to be with you, the people in the Covey will be fine, and it doesn't matter if they are or not. That's not the point here. The point is that she's really, like, sad, happy. I don't even know. She decides to stay with him, and it makes them all happy, but he also has to live with his choices, and like he doesn't win the Plinth Prize. They give it to somebody else, and that makes him mad. I don't know, but you see what I mean? The third act of this movie, and you can completely disagree with me, it's completely fine, is just really bad. So I hope you all have a good day. I hope you enjoyed this retrospective on what they can do better, and see you later. Have a good day.